search for directions, my thoughts reflecting.
Cheers everybody, how you guys doing? This is Oliver Nye, your host here at Big Bass Dreams. Just wanted to check in with you guys before I hit the road again. Just spent a weekend in Toronto at the Toronto Fishing and Boating Show. Shout out to all my Canadians that came out to the show. We've got a new edition of mail call here from Ben at the Hookup. Couple of goodies that we're gonna go through. We're gonna take a couple minutes and go through some of the new baits that I ordered for this upcoming pre-spawn and spawn bite that we're heading into here in California. But first off, big shout to all the Canadian dreamers that came out to support at the Toronto Fishing and Boating Show. Always a good time when I hang out with the Big Bass Dreams Canada crew, and I got to meet a lot of you guys that have been supporting the movement from that part of the continent for many years now. Always amazing to be able to talk Big Bass Dreams with you guys, man. So getting ready to hit the road tomorrow, I will be going to the Suffer and Fishing Show at the Rockland Community College. So make sure you guys come out. If you guys don't come out for me, come check out the seminars on the Hog Trough immediately following mine by Mr. Brandon Polinick. So it should be a good time up there in the Northeast. It's been a few years since I've made a personal appearance in that part of the country. So looking forward to seeing all the Northeast dreamers up there, from all the guys from Maine down to the Virginias, hopefully. So it's going to be a good time. And then immediately following the Rockland show, I will be coming home shortly. Maybe squeeze the first day of Fred Hall in, but I will be going straight to the Bassmaster Classic Expo in Birmingham, Alabama. We've got some special projects coming at you guys from the Megabass booth. So make sure you guys come to the show. We're going to have some limited edition items that are only available at this Bassmaster Classic Expo. So let's jump right into it. First item on my order list from Ben at the Hookup. You can find all of these baits in the description below. And remember, when you guys support him, you guys are supporting everybody at Big Bass Dreams and making it possible for us to take time out of our day to shoot this content, share the content, and hopefully give you guys some inspiration and some insight into how to better spend your hard-earned money on all these amazing tools and toys that are available to us as anglers now. So the Megabass Vision 110 at this point in time has definitely achieved pop culture status in bass fishing. It's taken a long time. Some of us have been fishing this bait for 2 decades plus. But I think people are getting tired of getting outfished by their buddy that made their first initial leap of faith on this incredible bass fishing lure. I'm going to argue this is one of the top 10 lures of all time. I rely on a Megabass 110 jerkbait in one form or variation year-round, and it was from coast to coast, but now it's worldwide as well. If you've got big predatory game fish or small predatory game fish, the darting, erratic jerkbait, ripbait, suspending, slow float, slow sinking actions of all the 110 options is undeniable at this point. So I just actually wanted to show you guys one of my favorite patterns that I don't ever really see anybody talking about or posting about. And this is actually the GG trout with the orange belly. This is one of the first colors that I was able to find here domestically in the States fairly easily. And obviously we have some rainbow trout presence in a lot of our lakes and reservoirs here in Southern California, but we don't really have juveniles. But it just looks cool. It's a good looking color. It gets bit for me in situations where there are no actual juvenile trout swimming around. So don't let that stop you from experimenting with this on your home waters. If anything, you look at those par marks and such, I mean, that could be easily mistaken for a juvenile black bass or a myriad of other prey species. So matching the hatch is always a good place to start, but don't always let that be the rule. All right, you can always bend rules. And this rainbow trout orange belly is one of those rule benders for me. This is a very highly effective bait and a pattern that a lot of guys aren't fishing. So if you guys can, swoop that up if they're available. They're actually kind of hard to get a hold of. I don't really see them come up on the order list too often. All right, so one of the newest additions to the 110 lineup that just got released in the last couple weeks is this actual whole series of matte patterns. They call them matte magics, and they took a lot oh gosh, they took a lot of the traditional patterns that many of us as Megabass fans already had confidence in, and put a little bit of a twist on them. So let me go with one of my favorites of all time. All right, and I'm gonna show you guys from my stash of 110s here, and you can see that I honestly do rely heavily on the 110 jerkbait for catching fish and locating fish and figuring out a bite no matter where I go. One of my favorite patterns that I gained a ton of confidence on was the HT Tennessee Shad. Okay, it's got this nice pearlescent finish, gold sides, a little bit of a chartreuse hit on the tail. Highly effective bait for me when I need a little bit of flash, when there's a little bit of color in the water. This is a pudding stone killer. This is a clear lake killer for me. Anytime you need a little bit more visibility. Well, what they did with this Matte Magic series is they took colors like that HT Tennessee Shad, gold sides, kind of a pearl belly, nice little chartreuse hit on the tail, and they just took some of these core colors, and instead of finishing it with a gloss finish, they all come in a matte finish. And initially I really wasn't sure what that was going to do to the way the baits looked in the water, but after spending a few days catching some fish here locally, I noticed and for some reason one of my local lakes is uber clear right now. I'm actually getting a really good look at a lot of these baits in the water, and I think the guys have accurately described it in that it kind of has this glow to it. Now this glow is an interesting twist on these existing color patterns, and all I know is that I've been able to actually follow up in the same kind of areas I've been pounding fish on day after day, a couple weeks in a row now, and have been able to show them something just a little bit different to continue generating bites. So that's a concept that I utilize a lot in my fishing, is I want a lot of different variations of something that's working, and we'll call the standard 110 HT Tennessee Shad like the baseline. Okay, this is the control of my scientific experiment. I'm going to catch whatever amount of fish on this initial lure working down a stretch of bank, but then when I make another pass, I'm looking for something different. Now that could mean I'm going into my box of 110 plus ones and showing them that exact same color scheme here, HT Tennessee Shad, but because of this bill difference, that bait is actually going to swim and dart a little bit differently. Actually, this is a lot more aggressive, a lot more side to side. So I can show them a color that's triggering bites, but a little bit different action to get other fish that didn't respond to the standard 110. Okay, so I'm going to keep building on that. I'm going to go from a +1 to maybe a +2. Go a little bit deeper from where I'm fishing. All right, and gosh, how do I not have any HT Tennessee Shad in the +2? I guess I'm gonna have to make another order. But I'm gonna show them yet another variation of a 110, and maybe in a slightly deeper range, right? Or I'm gonna actually fish this thing rod tip up to present it in that same shallower range as the bottom end of the 110 or middle end of the +1. But because of the bill shape, the way that bait is moving is still yet different enough to continue to trigger bites for me. Okay, and another one that people sleep on is actually utilizing the 110 silence. Like, I'm experiencing this on my home lakes, guys. Like, not only is everybody that I'm talking to on the lake now fishing Megabass jerkbaits, they're fishing the standard, now they're fishing the +1. And I think that's the point of me being able to share this content with you guys, right? Is you guys are seeing validation and able to take some of this insight and apply it and have success. So I'm glad you guys are doing that. But as a fisherman, now I've got to contend with this extra added pressure and having to stay a little bit ahead of the curve of the guys fishing behind me and even behind myself. Because like I said, I've been hammering some of these fish on this small body of water over and over again, and the bites change every day, and I've had to continue to adapt. And one of the strongest players for me this past week, especially when the wind hasn't been blowing, and it hasn't, is throwing a 110 silent. Okay, this has a fixed balancer system in it. Like, it's much quieter, much more finesse than a standard 110. Okay, you guys hear that? Great for aggressive fish, need presence. Once you wear those fish out, try the silent. Deadly adjustment there. Continue to catch those fish, and really that's what I'm most excited about with having this whole Matte Magic series of baits, right? And this is the Matte Emerald Shad pattern. So I can still go down the bank, catch them on the original Emerald Shad pattern, but then I can follow up with myself with just another variation. And just that kind of different glowy look of this new series of baits is oftentimes going to trigger more bites from me, especially you guys fishing tournaments, right? And you're fishing multi-day events, and you have to continue catching these fish out of an area that you've located. Continue catching these jerkbait fish if they're on that pattern. That's how you squeeze out a couple extra bites. It's showing them a little bit of a variation of what's currently working. All right, so there's Emerald Shad, that was the Emerald Shad pattern. Here's a beautiful one. This is the Matte Skeleton Shad. Once again, this is really similar to the limited edition color that came out a season or two ago in both the standard 110 and the 110+1. Love all the colors, a little bit of a chartreuse on the back of the tails. Real natural, real non-obtrusive. It's interesting because they do have a different glow to them in the water, and I think that's just enough of a different look and a different way of reflecting light down there to trigger a couple extra bites. Right, that's a beautiful color. Man, look at this one. This is one of the best clear water colors ever. I remember when the original Pro Blues were going on eBay for like $100 to $200 a pop because you couldn't get them. Guys are fishing the US Open with them and catching some key giant 2-pounders on it. But look at this version in this Matte Magic. It's no longer like fully transparent and translucent. Still a good color for high visibility, but just different. And different is a good thing. And if you guys are wondering why a lot of my baits only have the middle hook, it's because I've been caught in the middle of actually swapping out some of these baits. I like my baits to suspend or even slightly sink on my paws. I get a lot of bites that way. I'm not always necessarily looking for a perfectly true suspending bait. I haven't found that it really matters. I almost find that I get more bites if the bait slowly sinks. So I actually fish a bigger gauge treble hook on the front and back. I like these Katsuage hooks for the middle especially because they're super sticky. They will grab, but they were designed for much more finesse anglers fishing lighter line like 8 and 10 pound fluorocarbon. When I'm fishing braid to fluorocarbon leader materials, oftentimes like 50 to 15 to 20 pound leaders, and I'm still targeting bigger fish in and around cover, so I yank on my fish and I yank on my hooks. And if you do that with these stock hooks on the front and back, they have the potential to bend out. You'll very rarely ever hook a jerkbait fish only on the middle hook. It's usually a combination of 2 of the 3 or all 3 hooks embedded into the mouth and the face of the fish. So that's going to help distribute the load. That's just going to help catch that bass with an extra 1 to 3 points. I have a lot of confidence with that, so I'll take the front and the back hooks off and I'll save them to replace the middle ones as I wear through fish. And I'm normally fishing something like a number 6 Mustad KVD treble hook on the front and back. Fish have a very hard time shaking me free with that setup. That's a sick variation on a very effective color. All right, I don't want to mess up my organization too much here, give myself some more work. This one's a cool one. This is a matte stain shad. All white is it's a great color. You guys see me throwing it from everything from crappie to barramundi and Murray cod to muskies. White is a very natural and subtle color, but it's still very loud at the same time. It's a very unique color in the spectrum. That's just that's cool. I don't know why I didn't throw this past couple weeks. I need to throw this bait. You guys need to throw this bait. That's a good looking pattern right there. Okay, and all you Northeast boys and all you boys down under and any of you guys that have any kind of perch species in Europe, this matte perch is just a beautiful pattern. Here's the ghost pattern perch in the silent series versus the matte perch in the standard 110. You can see the pattern there. Real similar colors, completely different finish, completely different effect. All right, so load up on all your favorite patterns. These are some of my confidence baits. This is a great match to hatch, obviously, for all you guys fishing in and around perch. And then we're gonna wrap this video up with another bait that I feel people are not potentially utilizing. And you saw one of the mail calls where we went over the new Battalion 190s. Well, for a couple seasons now, I've been fishing the standard size Battalion. And throughout my travels throughout this country, especially through like the Midwest and the upper Midwest, it's really evident how important sunfish, bluegill, crappie, all those panfish are in a largemouth and smallmouth's diet. This is a very manageable size bait that you can throw on your bigger crankbait sticks, light swim bait setups. It is deadly in and around cover. I like fishing docks with this thing. I like fishing submerged brush, edges of weed beds. This is a floating model bait. I employ a retrieve similar to the way I fish the Megabass Flap Slap. This is a stop and go crank down bait for me. Pauses, twitches, mix it up. I will add a little bit of weight to the belly to get that rate of flotation to slow down. I think I want to say I use anything from like 2 to 4, maybe even 6 suspend strips on the belly to get the weighting that I want. All right, but if I'm fishing this thing tight to cover, real specific targets, I do want it to stall out for as long as possible. So experiment with the number of suspend strips it takes to get this bait down to hover completely still. Cast it around places you think bass are gonna live. Whine, 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 pause, twitch, twitch, twitch. Really fun bait to fish in and around cover, and one that I don't really see a lot of people talking about. And I've been watching fish even on my home lake for the last few weeks blow up and destroy red ear sunfish in a frequency I've never seen in my entire life. So just a reminder to keep some panfish pattern and profile baits in your boat. The Battalion is a really fun one, really high percentage. I've pretty much hooked every bite I ever got on this thing. I don't remember losing any. Real fun bait. And then we're gonna wrap this mail call up with a special request on my end. Thank you guys for all the support with the Big Bass Streams collaborative Yeti ramblers that we ran. I'm pretty sure we're completely sold out now. The guys in Canada got the last of them, but I need some comments. We're gonna make another run of Big Bass Dreams branded Yetis. Should we go with this new beer mug or the bottle? I can't make up our minds. So need help from you guys today. What do you think? Beer mug? This thing is sick, by the way. Bottle. I don't know. You tell me. Anyways, looking forward to seeing you guys at the Rockland show, at the Bassmaster Classic, maybe first day at Fred Hall. And then once I get back, it's going to be on and cracking. We're going to hit the season running. I've got some personal training sessions lined up, both here in Southern California and Northern California. So if you guys are trying to get in on some of the best bass fishing in the world over the next few weeks, shoot me an email. That's oliver@bigbassstreams.com. Until then, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Subscribe to my new personal channel. I've been posting new video content that you're not going to find here on the Big Bass Streams channel. Appreciate you guys. You guys have a good one. I'm out, and I'll see you guys hopefully in person soon. Thank you.
In search for directions, my thoughts reflecting